Okay, well, hey, Mark, thanks so much for setting this up. Again, my name is Abraham Sion. I am the founder and president of the Government Contractors Association. It's an honor and a joy to be here. I love helping businesses and business owners become millionaires in the government market. So it's a lot of fun when we see small business go from one or two-man, woman or men organizations, and they go from that to adding staff and then going out there winning small contracts and start winning big contracts. It's very rewarding to see the growth of the members of our association as well as the business that we work with, the clients and so forth. Just a disclaimer, we're going to talk about different opportunities, different potential examples of companies that we work with and so forth. There are no, in terms of from a compliance with the FCC and the government, we can't promise, can't guarantee any results. Results are unique to individuals and different companies. So I just keep that in mind as we go through this process here. But our goal today is to show you that there are different opportunities out there. There's different contracting vehicles that you can use as a business owner so that you can have the level of success that you want in the government space. So without further ado, I just want to check in with Myra quickly. Myra, so the recording's off. Can I get started?
Yes, the recording is on. You can go ahead and get started.
Okay, that's awesome. So I'll go ahead and get started. If you have questions, just go ahead and type it in the chat area, and Myra will address that back to me. But without further ado, let me go ahead and dive in. Most of you may know me. If you don't know me, again, my name is Abraham Sion. I founded the Government Contract Association because there's a lot of different needs that businesses have in the government market. And so we work together here at the association to support the businesses that are that may have different challenges in the government market. And today's session, we're going to be talking about contract vehicles and understand the government procurement methods. And so without, let me go ahead and dive in. I'm going to give you a broad definition of what a contracting vehicle is. And different people will have different definitions, but a contracting vehicle is a type of method under which a government agency utilizes to source out products and services from the commercial sector. And there's varieties of different contracting vehicles out there. GSA schedules, there's different multiple award schedules out there. There's sole source, there's micro purchases, there's the open market, there's small business purchases, there's SAP projects. There's many, which we're going to go into more details in a second. But contracting vehicles in general is just a way and a method that the government buys from your business. And so that's what we'll be talking about today. And we'll look at some examples, and we'll go online. We'll do some live demonstration as well in this process here. So how does the government buy? The government buys through contracting departments. And there's the internal side, and there's the external side in terms of the different agencies and private organizations out there that they use. So from the internal side, they have different agencies and sub-agencies, and within, and also departments within the agencies itself. That is the purchasing is very complex in the government market because there's the different federal acquisition regulations. There's also NASA regulations. There's also DoD supplemental regulations. So there's lots of different procurement regulations out there. And so because of that, the government says we can't just let an agency buy anything they want because they may not purchase it according to the regulations. And so they set up different agencies, different contracting professionals to be the buying arm of the different agencies that have the needs. And so DLA is Defense Logistic Agency. They purchase a lot for the DoD. And then there's different external contracting agencies like GSA. A GSA is a buying arm for government agencies. And GSA have expanded, well, GSA stands for the General Service Administration. They've expanded from just doing it for the federal government to where their contracting schedules are being utilized for the state as well as different counties and local municipalities as well. And some large commercial actually have tapped into that as well, because GSA's job is to negotiate the best pricing for all the different agencies. And then there's different contracting officers within agencies that have the power and the authority to purchase from your business on behalf of the government and the government agencies. So the CO or the KO, they're usually the same person. CO stands for contracting officers. CO in the military, because the DoD is the largest purchasing agency in the government market, they don't use CO because CO in the military stands for commanding officers. And so sometimes it's synonymous with KO, which is contracting officer as well. The PCO is the procurement contracting officers. The TCO is the termination contracting officer. Often there's the contracting officer works with the COTAR or the Corps. The COTAR, the COTR, is the contracting officer's technical representative. The contracting officer may know the regulations, but they're not a technical expert. So for example, if the contracting officer is purchasing some construction services, they may not know construction, they may not know a 2x4 from a 4x4. And so there's the technical representative that understands industry regulations, commercial standards. They understands, specific technical needs of different industries. And so in the Corps, the contracting officer representative, they function in a very similar capacity. And there's different other type of contracting specialists out there. But today, I just want to go over some key things. Now, moving forward, obviously to be able to sell to the government, you must register as a vendor. You got to be in SAM.gov. With the state, as a state vendor, you got to be registered as a vendor with the state that you're in. If you're in Georgia, the Georgia marketplace is where you want to go to. Different states have their own vendor database. I'll talk more about that. Local municipalities, such as cities and counties, they all have their own vendor registration database, and so you got to be registered there. And then large primes like Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, you got to be registered as a vendor or as a subcontractor in their system as well. So when we talk about how to sell to them, at a minimum you need to be registered as a vendor. If you are ever at a point where you want to figure out how to do business with someone, you just go and type in there doing businesses with. And so I'm going to give you a quick example. So to do that, you want to go in here and let's assume that you want to do business with South Dakota. And I'm going to just do a random doing business with South Dakota. And you can see, now as I go in here, you can see that, state of South Dakota, there may be additional steps doing business as, start your business, doing business with South Dakota. So you got all these different resources here. And so we want to find the link that goes into, that allows us to go in there. So now it takes you into the South Dakota database, and you go into operate as a business corporation. We don't want to do those there. We want to just find the right place. And so as you can come in here, you can find more so specifically in terms of how to do business with each state. And it just takes a second to do that. And corporate forms, let me see if I can find it quickly. This is a little bit more, yes, there's a little bit more complex. Let me go in here, doing businesses with City of Atlanta. So you can see here, doing business City of Atlanta. There's that link. There's the supplier registration. So I can come in here and click on the supplier registration, and then I can register as a vendor if I want to do work with City of Atlanta. And you can do this doing business with whichever city or state that you're in, and you can do appropriately to wherever you want to do business with. And so use this here as a way to find, because there's so many different states, so many different cities. There's, like in the United States, there's over 3,000 counties, and it's impossible for me to list every single one of them. So for the purpose of this, I'm giving you a shortcut. You just need to type in doing business with, and that's how you go to that there. So let me come back here and continue. If you have questions, just type in your questions as we're going through this process here. So that's how you find out how to do business with the specific agencies. Now, how does the government buy? The government buy sometimes through purchase cards or credit cards. And sometimes they call it smart cards or they call it P cards. They also have micro purchases. Now, micro purchases are small projects, $3,000 or less. And usually with that, they just issue a purchase order and they do it through, usually they can do that through credit cards or through an invoice and where you invoice them and they pay you. Now, there's also different types of simplified acquisition procedures. SAPs are usually $150,000 or less. And most SAP must go to small businesses. If it's a small business SAP, contract dollar $150 less can only be sold to small businesses. And so if you're competing, you see a large company there, they're not going to be able to compete on that project because it's a SAP for small businesses. Now, contracting vehicles. So there's IDIQ or indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. This is a type of contract vehicle that the government use, and this is very popular. And typically, there's in the IDIQ contract is usually for 1 plus 3 or 4 option years, and they buy, they find a vendor, and that vendor is on standby. So every time, for example, they need a IDIQ contract for a painter or for a pest control company, and once you become that painter or pest control company for the agency, you're there for 5 years. And so anytime they need pest control services, they'll call up your company. And or if they need a painter, they'll call up your company if you're painting, if it's IDIQ contract for painting. And there's many different types of IDIQ contracts out there used by different agencies out there. So the GWAC, government-wide acquisition contracts. There's also MAC, multiple award contracts out there. There's MAS, multiple award schedules. Different agencies have different preferences in terms of which type of contract vehicles they use. There's FSS, Federal Supply Schedules. This is usually tied back to these. MAS and FSS is tied back to GSA schedules. There's BPA, Blanket Purchase Agreements. There's BOA, Basic Ordering Agreement. MATOC, Multiple Award Task Order Contract. And then there's SATOC, Single Award Task Order Contract. And there's different types of set-asides for social, economic, and small businesses. If you are a disadvantaged business, such as a woman-owned business, or a veteran business, or a 8A company, minority-owned businesses, hub zone companies, these are different types of social, economic disadvantaged programs out there, and you can win set-aside contracts. And usually for set-asides at the federal level, there's a 23% set-aside. At the state level, there's a unspoken set aside of 10%. So for example, in the DBE program at the state level, it's 10%. Subcontracting goes for large companies. Typically, they're required by government to subcontract 35% to small businesses. So these are different types of set aside programs out there. And then there's sole source contracts. Sole source contracts are direct award from a agency to a small business, or there are some sole source contracts to large companies as well, but those are for top secret types of projects. So for example, like a missile defense project. It may be a $500 million project, but the government would do a sole source contract to a large company because maybe that large company is the only one that have the technology, or the government does not want to put it out for bid because of security reasons, and they just tap a company, say, hey, we want you to build this for us. And so there's sole source contracts for small business. Most of the time we focus on sole source contracts for small businesses, and you know, as a small business, sole source contract is probably the best contract vehicle you want to use because it allows you to go and win sole source contracts without competing with anybody, typically up to $4 million in value. And so this is a very powerful tool using sole source contracts. Other types of contracting vehicles, these are specific examples here. GSA schedules, there's different 35 types of GSA schedules. This is one of the most powerful tools you can have out there as well. The GSA Stars 2, typically this is for 8A companies. They're FSSI, a Federal Strategic Sourcing Initiative. This is usually used for office supplies, pens and pencils, paper, the printing needs, different type of things like that falls under FSSI, and usually that's managed by GSA as well. And then there's C4E with the Navy, there's NetSense, there's ITES, there's Encore, there's Alliant, there's VETS GWAC, there's Oasis, there's Ability One with the Javis Wagner O'Day program. So there's Ability is for companies or organizations, nonprofit organizations that employ those who have some type of disabilities or have special needs, such as the blind community, or those that may require a certain type of they may be in wheelchair, or they different communities like that. If they're working for a company, those companies can apply for Ability One sole source contract initiatives as well. So there's different types of programs out there. Based on you want to research a little further to see which one is the best fit for your organizations. And then the federal prison systems, they have Unicore, which is prison industry where they produce furniture, they sell certain types of products, and they can sell it cheaper to the government. For most business, you don't have to worry about that there. And then there's Veteran First Contracting Program. If you are a veteran-owned business and you're certified, the VA and the DOD have Veteran First Contracting Programs out there. For example, the VA awards 26% of the contracting dollars goes to veterans, which is the highest program out there for veterans. And so if you're a veteran, you may, instead of trying to do work for the CDC, you might want to do work for the VA. So based on your need, based on your specific company situation, you want to address the agency that's going to be the best fit for your company. So how do you find, so we want to dive into how do you find opportunities in terms of to match the type of contracting vehicles you're looking for. So these are different resources here. And I'll do a demonstration in a little bit, but you're going to use FPDS, the Federal Procurement Data System, to do some research to find past awards. And if you know the past award, you can find current opportunities and future opportunities. USA Spending is a great resource. The GSA e-library is a great resource, and DLA through the DIBS system, you can find out the awards. And the state have different award databases as well. And you can use that to find out who's been winning what and how to use that to predict future projects. Now, knowing the past, generally in the federal market, 70% of current projects that's available now is renewal projects from the past. For example, the government has an office building. In the office building, they're always going to be there. They're going to be there for 20, 30 years, in terms of those employees. That building is going to be there. So in that building, they have generic needs all the time. For example, they need pest control. That building will always need pest control. So they may award a contract to a pest control company, but every 3 years they might come up for renewal. So if you know it's a 3-year contract, then you want to go ahead and find out who was awarded, how much it was awarded for, and when it's coming up for renewal, so that you can be that company that's in place to bid on that before it hits the street. And then in terms of finding current opportunities, FBO, Fed Bid, Fed Connect, Challenge, RFP, EZ, Outreach Systems, iSearch, these are all different resources. For the purpose of time, I can't go through all of these here, but if you reach out to Myra or myself, we'll be more than happy to give you this list here so that you can use this here to go and search for current opportunities. And there's a lot of good resources in here. And then in terms of pay services, there's a lot of pay services out there as well. I normally recommend, using one of these pay services because it saves you a lot of time. And so Gov Directions, state and federal bids, GovWin, some of the more affordable ones. If you're looking for local projects, state and federal bids and Gov Directions, they're great for local projects. If you're a large company and you want to be able to track, really good historical data and be able to have the most powerful tool out there, GovWin is probably the best bid matching tool out there. They've been around the longest. It used to be called Input, and then Deltek bought it over and rebranded as GovWin. GovPurchase is another good platform. Omvia, ePipeline, Easy, GovOps, FedBiz Access. All these are different resources out there, and just find which one is a good match for you. GovDirections is about $44 a month, so it's a good tool. It allows you to get email alerts, allows you to go and research and from at the state and federal as well as local level. So these are great resources for pay services. And then how to find future opportunities. If you know how to find future opportunities, you can really plan ahead. And so I'm going to show you how to find opportunities in a second also. Now I'm going to take a second and using future opportunities forecasts. This is a regulations, and so I'm going to click on this link here, and because as a small business are extremely disadvantaged in the government space, and because of that, government passed certain codes mandating that agencies must create forecasts to help small business be able to search and bid for opportunities. So, let me go ahead and, my PowerPoint is restarting. So while that's restarting, I'm going to go ahead and go in here and dive into doing forecasts. So to do forecasts, what you want to do is you want to go into you want to go out there and let me show you this regulation, because I think this regulation is awesome. As a small business, this is very important for you. Does anybody have any questions while this is loading up here? Any questions? Myra, does anybody have any questions at this point?
We don't have any questions at this time.
Okay.
And I know one of our attendees is one of our members extraordinaire, Andrea, so she gets a lot of this every week.
Okay. Okay, good. So, well, while that's pulling up, and if it does pull up, I'm going to go ahead and keep moving forward. So the key is to find forecasts. What you want to do is you want to go to, okay, so it did pull up. There's just a lot of documents, and so it took a minute to pull up. But in this act here, it's for the Small Business Act, and it goes on here, and if you read through it, I'm not going to read through it, but it says in here that government agencies are required to do certain things to support small businesses, and part of it is setting goals and helping 8A companies and going in here and making sure that there's forecast opportunities for small businesses. And so this regulation says, but let's go in here and let's assume that I want to find a forecasted project. So I'm going to come on here and I'm going to go in here. I'm going to type in, if I want to do forecast for GSA. So I'm going to type in here forecast GSA 2016. And you can do this for almost every agency, federal agencies out there, because the regulations is for all federal agencies. And so when I did forecast, GSA 2016, if it's 2017, you put 2017. If it's 2018, you put 2018. But right now we're in 2016, so I'm going to put 2016. And it takes me to this here. And so I go in here. GSA has a page on their website specifically focused on forecasts for contracting opportunities. So as I come in here, I can see there's a little video, and you can play the video when you go on here. I'm not going to do it for time purposes, but I can go in here. I say, okay, forecasting opportunity tools, and I can come in here and see what they have to offer. I can click on the tool, and I can download the spreadsheet, or I can come on here and put in a keyword. If I'm, one of the person on here is in pest control, so I'm going to put in here pest control, and I'm going to hit search and see what type of forecast opportunities are out there. And I can do that by agencies. I can do that by multiple different, ways as well. But I can see here, there's all types of different things in here. Some of it is not necessarily tied to pest control, but you can see that it pulls up different types of project. It may be better to do NAICS codes and do it by NAICS code, but you can see, let me just kind of use, this is an IT project. It's for Washington. This is for planning purposes. You can see the budget is $5 million up to $10 million, and they don't know if it's going to go by small business or anything specific yet. They plan to do this here in the second quarter. So actually, this database is new to GSA. They've been using Excel spreadsheet, and they have over 4,882 opportunities in here. In the past, they've been just using the Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to go ahead and download the Excel spreadsheet to see, and see it in a different format than the way they've got it here. I'm glad that they're actually turning it into an online platform, which is good, versus just an Excel sheet. So you can see here, so you can see that, award status, all these are planning stages, competition, whether it's going to be set aside, 8A sole source, they intend to sole source these here, 8A sole source, 8A competitive, and so you can see the type of projects that they're going to award it to. And then you come in here in terms of the description of what their needs are. And so copier, administrative, come see in here. And then if you want to find, you can do a Control F and put in here computer to see if there's any project for computers. And so there's 22 different instances where the word computer shows up. And so there's different ways to sort it out. And so feel free to come and play around with it. This is one way. I'm going to come back over here, and I'm going to do another way. So I'm going to come in here. I'm going to put in here forecast HHS 2016. And so HHS has a platform called Procure Forecast. So I'm going to come on here. They have a database as well that you can go in here and find different project opportunities for them. It tells you the budget range. This is good to know, right? If you know the budget range, you can know that you need to be within that price range there. Now, obviously, the budget range is so high that it's hard to be specific. I mean, there's a big difference between 10 million and 20 million, right? $10 million is a lot of money, so there's a big difference. So again, you can do this there for almost any agency out there. And if you want to do forecast with the Army 2016. So Army forecast, and again, you may have to click on a few different things to get to where you want to go to, because right now there is no systematic way of doing it. There's still a little bit more manual work to do it this way here. So that's kind of how you find forecast opportunities. Coming back to this here, I want to show you how different contracting vehicle works. So let me go in here. And one of the websites that we talked about is USA Spending. So I'm going to go to USA Spending, and I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to show you how we award contracts. So I'm going to come and I'm here to Advanced Search. And I'm going to come in USA Spending. I'm going to check 2015 because I want to see contracts for 1 year. And as I come down here, I can go and see how they competed on these projects here, whether it's a different types of contract, whether they use cost plus firm fixed price, and how they, how it was competed. So if I'm going to come in here, I'm going to go in here and I'm just going to put in here for the state place of performance. I'm going to put in here for the state of Georgia, and I'm just going to do a general search for all projects in Georgia and search to see what's out there. So in Georgia for 2015, they awarded $7 billion in terms of work that was done in the state of Georgia. Now, I did this here because I want to show you how you can use this here as a powerful tool for your company. Now, they awarded 64,000 projects in the state of Georgia, and I can come in here. I'm going to take First American. I'm going to look at this $300,000 project here, and this is awarded as a prime. I'm going to click on the award ID here, and it's going to allow me to find out more about the type of contracting vehicle that the government used on this here. So this project is $319,000. The agency is the VA, and it's actually, it was the VA in Atlanta. And the contracting information, this is a one-year contract, and the project is exam tables for Decatur Specialty Clinic. Contractor information, it was awarded to this company, and then place of performance, it was in Decatur, Georgia. Product or service code, surgical appliance, this is the NAICS codes that it was awarded to. And the competition is very important here, right? So here, I can see that it was for an open competition. Only two companies bidded on this project.
Wow.
And they use it was a set aside for veteran-owned businesses only. So service disabled veteran-owned small business. So it was a SDVSB set aside. So the type of contracting mechanism, contracting vehicle they used was they went with a full open competition, and they set aside for small businesses that are veteran-owned only. So if I know that there, and remember I mentioned earlier that the VA tend to use veteran-owned businesses. So if you're not a veteran-owned business, does that mean you don't do work for the VA?
No. No.
If you're not a veteran certified business, the VA own business to team, that's VA. So understanding the contracting vehicles that the government uses allows prepare and better plan and the company to be successful with the agency. Is in Decatur. That's 10 minutes from us. And so if I'm a business that's close to Decatur or in Decatur, and I want to do business with that VA, that specific agency there, I want to team up with a veteran-owned business if I'm not a veteran-owned company. And so that's kind of how you use this here. It tells you a little about the company itself. Look at the company. Annual revenue is $168,000, and they have 4 employees. And so if you need a veteran-owned company, obviously this company is looking to get more contracts. You can team up with them to do different works together. So this gives you an example. Now let me go ahead and find another company. I'm just going to find 3E Consultants. Let's look at this $363,000 project here, and let's do a little study to see what type of contracting vehicles they use here. So going back in deeper, the amount is $363,000. The purchasing agency is Homeland Security, and the sub-agency is the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. This is immediate delivery, so this is a definite contract, firm fixed price, and it tells me it's correction of multiple drainage issues observed in the areas by Memorial Drive and Artesia Avenue. So this is for drainage issue, and so this is horizontal construction here. And contractor information is 3E Consultants. This company is out of Florida, and they're doing work in Georgia. So if you're a Georgia company, you're letting your competitors from out of state come and take money right from under your nose in this situation here. The place of performance is in Brunswick, Georgia. Product or service, construction highway, and so forth, water sewer line. So you can see that there. And then if you look at competition, so this one was not available for competition. It was only to one company, and guess what they did? They did an 8A sole source. So this is the contracting vehicle that they use. They use an 8A sole source method to it was a direct award to this company, and that's why we see only one bid, one offer was received, and for $360,000, it went directly to this company here to And they're a small business. They do about $6.9 million. And so this company, was awarded this contract. They didn't have to compete for it. So 3E, this is a very important tool, is to use, the best contracting vehicle I mentioned is sole source contract. As a small business, you want to use that. Sole source contract can be awarded to women-owned businesses, can be awarded to veteran business, can be awarded to 8A companies, hub zone companies, but the best tool and the one that is used most often is the 8A. So you're going to see 8A, if you want sole source, 8A is the best contracting vehicle. So let's look at a few more examples in terms of contracting vehicle. I'm going to go further in. And I'm going to try to find a large project and to see which, in terms of which agency. So I'm going to look at AT&T, right? We know that AT&T is a large company. So let's try to find, let's look at this $1 million project or $5 million project. And let's see, let's do, in terms of how they awarded this project out. So the amount is $5.4 million. The purchasing agency is HHS, back to the CDC. So it's CDC is buying this product here. This is a 1-year project. It's for telecommunication services for CDC. The contract information, this is AT&T company. And then the place of performance is in Atlanta, Georgia. The product and service code is IT, telecom, computer-related service, telecommunication. Let's go to competition. So this is for open competition. One bid was received, and there was no set-aside, subject to multiple award, fair opportunity. So in this situation, they didn't use they just went for open competition, but they only received one bid. Now, it may have been where there's a technology that AT&T was the only company that had that technology, and so nobody else was able to bid on that project. So you can see here that, because this is, they went for, it was an open competition. Some people just didn't have the technology, and so this is an example. It's not top secret project, it's just commercial product, but that technology may be manufactured by AT&T, or it may be AT&T might be the only company that is wired to the CDC, and because of that, they're the only logical company, even though it's an open competition. Now let's find out a little more about AT&T. They didn't put the information here. It would have been good to see, but we didn't see in their information. So you can see that there. Let's find another one. A+ Government Solutions. Let's look at this project here, this $300,000 project, and we'll see what type of contracting vehicles was used here. So amount is $357,000. The purchaser is the HHS, again back to CDC, and this is for about a 4-month project. This is a cost plus project there. Cost plus is where there's a direct cost, and then there's some fixed fees that's attached to that project there. So this company is out of Virginia, Arlington, Virginia. Place of performance is in Atlanta. The product service gives you a little more detailed professional services, office administration services, competition. So this is full and open competition, and you can see that here. And there was 14 companies that submitted a bid. And so this was 8A competed. So it was competed only with 8A companies. So you can see that even though it was open, it says after exclusion of sources. So they decide it was open, but then they decide to go only with 8A companies. And if you're not an 8A company, you can't compete on this. Or in this situation, 14 8A companies bid on this project here. And then the awardee, small company, $3.9 million. They got 72 employees. They're minority owned, Hispanic owned, and so forth here. And then let's do one more, and then I'll show you some other things here. So in terms of contracting vehicles, let's go to AT Solutions. This $3 million project. This is a prime award contract. It's $3 million. The purchaser is the DoD with the Navy. And contracting information, this is for almost a 1-year project. And then let's look at the contractor. This is AT Solutions. They're out of Virginia. Place of performance is in Forest Park, Georgia. Product or service code, special studies, analysis, chemical, biological, engineering services. So it gives you a little bit more information. And then we go into the competition information. And competition is for open. So you can see it's for open, but only 2 bids was submitted. And so you can see here it was not set aside. But even in an open competition on a $3 million project, only 2 companies submitted a bid. So why not your company, right? If you are one of the 2 companies, you have a 50% chance of winning on this project here. So by digging deeper, looking at the type of how they buy, it starts to tell you which agency to do work with. It starts to tell you how you should compete, and it starts to allow you to strategize and plan better as you're out there competing for these projects here. So that gives you an example in terms of how to do that there. So now let me go into a little bit, different areas, that we talked about earlier. So I want to come in here and show you how to find what we do. We look at historical opportunities. And I want to come in here. I want to show you how to find current opportunities. So we're going to go to FBO. And so FBO.gov. And as I'm in FBO.gov, I'm going to be able to find current opportunities. Once I'm in FBO, I'm going to hit Advanced Search Form. I'm going to click on that there. And so it allows me to go in here, and I can search for opportunities. So I'm going to come in here. I can come and say, hey, I want to see how, how they're going to, whether they're doing set aside or whether they're not. But I'm going to come and I'm going to do it by NAICS code. So I'm going to just randomly choose not plumbing, but let me go to transportation. So I'm going to do general transportation for trucking, freight, hauling, and all that stuff there. And to see what kind of opportunities are in here. And I can narrow it down by cities, states, and so forth, but I'm just going to leave it general. So I'm going to hit search. So right now, in terms of, there's 3 projects or 300 projects that's in transportation. Now, a few of these are award, like this first one's an award. But let's look at a solicitation. So this is a solicitation here, domestic jet fuel truck transportation services. So so this is hauling jet fuel, I would imagine, for the Defense Logistic Agency, which is the DoD. So you can see aircraft refueling services. So there's a lot of fuel services in here. Furniture reconfiguration, moving, trailer rental, driver support services, packing shipping services, packing moving relocation, move relocation, request for information, moving, government. I'm trying to find a true logistics project here. Let me see if I can find one. Let me go to the next page here. Moving government, there's a lot of moving furniture in here, and yeah, there's a lot. Transportation Carrier Industry Day Conference. Oh, if you are in transportation, you definitely want to go to this Industry Day conference here. And so most of their hauling is fuel hauling, and I'm trying to see if there's other types of hauling in here. I think some of the hauling is not out for bid because they're actually already awarded to IDIQ contracts. So let's look at this one here. So, this is an old one. So we don't want to go that old. So there's not a lot. So I need to find a different industry. So let's do one more example in here. let's look for lawyers and see how much contract opportunities are there for lawyers. So lawyers, there's 375 projects for attorney services. Legal support services, this is the full project here with the Department of Interior. I'm going to click on this here. It's been out since January as a pre-solicitation, but they've made it into a solicitation. They've gone through some changes here. You can see that there's so much documents here about this project here, and so if you are interested, the project due date is April 4th, which is due in a few days. So if you're an attorney, you're interested on this here, you can come in here and you can see how they intend to award this contract here. So you can see that we have to dive deeper to see if you go to the packages here, you'll see the solicitation, the statement of work, all the details about this project here. So if this is a project you're interested in, then you want to go ahead and read through all this details here. For the purposes today, because time is limited, I'm not going to be able to go into any specific details. But so that gives you an idea in terms of contracted vehicles, GSA. Let me take the last few minutes to look at GSA, and because they handle so much of government buying services. So I'm going to go to GSAadvantage.gov, and under GSA Advantage, this is the database that tracks all of the GSA schedules that's out there in the market. So I'm going to go in here and put services. I'm going to put in pest control. And so these are all the companies that have pest control GSA contracts. So the GSA schedule is called 03FAC for pest control. And so if you are a pest control company, this is the GSA schedule you want to get. I'm going to click on this company. And this is the GSA schedule here. And I'm going to be able to see the GSA schedule and find out more about how the pricing work and so forth. So this is the GSA schedule. It ends, it's a 5-year contract. It ends in in 1 more year. So minimum order is $100. Maximum is $1 million. Man, if they're buying $1 million of pest control, they got some serious issues. They probably need to destroy that building and not necessarily do pest control.
That was a tense situation.
Okay, so let's see in terms of pricing. So you can see here, right? Pest control technician, and so you don't necessarily need anything special. High school degree is fine. Minimum years of experience is 2, and the commercial rate is $100 per hour. So if you are, so that's the commercial rate, and then they're selling to the government at $94, which is a 6% discount, because the government wants special pricing. So you can see here that, so they price it by the hour, bedbud. So that's, they do that by the square foot. And so it's 75 cents per square feet in this situation here. And they sell it to the government at 71 cents per square foot. And so this allows you to see what your competitors are doing out there and to see if your pricing is competitive. And so based on this GSA schedule, you know that the government, every single building needs pest control. If you're a janitor, every single building, government building, needs janitorial services. Every single building needs construction services, plumbing services. So they need your services. It's not a question of do they need you or not. The question is, do you have a right strategy? Do you understand the contracting vehicles of how they use to buy from the commercial market from your company? If you don't know that, then you got to do the research, and you got to do what we showed you today and understand which vehicle of choice that they like to use. So we have a few minutes left. I want to kind of open it up to see if there's any questions. Myra, do we have any questions from anybody out there, or is there any questions that people have asked you in the past and that you want to make sure that I address today?
We don't have any questions currently from any of the attendees on the call, but if you do have something, please raise your hand and I'll unmute you. The only thing, I do just have a question myself as far as the schedule that you just opened up for that company, that Hamilton Pest Control. is that their actual
Yeah.
schedule that they submitted to GSA to get on that in order to get their GSA schedule?
Yes. So
Okay.
this is the actual GSA schedule that you prepared.
Okay.
And most people, I don't know why they submit it as a Word doc. I don't recommend submitting as a Word document. You submit it as a PDF.
Right.
Because if you submit as a Word doc, you know, there's some risk with that there.
Right.
So,
now, okay.
So this is Terminex. So Terminex is one of the largest, you know, pest control company in the Southeast, or maybe even nationwide, but yeah, I know them in the Southeast. Let's look at their pricing. So they're actually cheaper, right, than the other company.
No.
So their 1 hour per hour is $70 per hour.
Okay.
But they have a 2-hour minimum, whereas the other company only has 1 hour minimum. This company has, you know, they broke it down by 2-hour minimum, and so, but they're $30 cheaper than the other company. And then in terms of daily rate, 65, and then weekly rate, someone full-time doing work there for a whole week, that's their, and then they also break it down in terms of square footage. So, you know, 0 to 20,000 square feet facilities, they charge $30 monthly. Some of these terminologies, you know, I have to get more familiar with the industry. And so you can kind of see, so you know, if you're pest control, you want to study your competitors, right? So their, you know, their square footage price is 0.27 cents. The other company was, I think it was 70 cents.
71 cents is the preferred government.
Yeah, 71 cents.
Yeah.
So you can, so the pricing is all over the place. And you want to study more companies so that you can get the right, you know, so that you can benchmark after the right pricing.
But this is
more for medical side of it.
I mean, this allows you to.
This is equipment here.
Yeah. This is great information because it allows you to study your competition, know what they're charging, and know how to competitively price your services so that you can win and also make a profit. And then you know whether or not it's even worth your time doing. So that's perfect. Interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, so what we saw a small company which is way higher than Terminex. Terminex, it may be because they have economy of scale.
Right.
It may be because, you know, they can buy equipment cheaper. They can buy supplies cheaper. So it may be very different reason. Now, generally in the government space, most larger companies charge more than small companies. But so far in this example, we looked at pest control, it's the opposite. You know, but again, don't worry about what other people charges. You know, use that to study and learn from. You have your own overhead costs. You have your own profit margins. Base it on your needs and not necessarily what's out there. But this gives you an idea of where you need to be to compete. Okay. So any other questions out there?
No questions as of this point, but I think you covered everything and we're right at time, so good info.
Okay, so hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us. You know, a lot of the tools and resources I have here, you know, I showed it to you in the PowerPoint here, but all of that is available through our software, which is the Gov Fast Track. And if you're wondering in terms of how to really learn about this market and how to really expand your business, you know, our software here allows you to really dive deep into the details of what we do here as an association to help businesses in the government space. So once you're in here, you know, you can go in here and see what the software is all about. You know, I'm going to go ahead and log in to show you a little bit on the inside of the software. So once I'm in the software, I can come up here and just type in search. And so if I want to, you know, what we do is we talk about contracting vehicles, and I'm going to come in here and type that in here. Actually, current sheet. So I can type in here contract vehicle, and it's going to take me to the areas of the software. And so, you know, if you want to learn about contracting vehicle, the software already has the resources in here, and so it goes and covers the different contract. So everybody, I appreciate you coming on here. I showed you that, in terms of how to find contracting vehicles, you can go to the software and you can find anything you want. And, we have lots of stuff on the software. So contracting vehicles, I talk to you about it from a presentation perspective, but that is in the software. You can come in here if you want to learn about 8A certification. You can do the search in here, and and we teach you how to how to get your 8A certification. But all these different things are in this in here, and so there's lots of cool stuff in the software. Look into it. Go to govfasttrack.com, and you'll see that might be a powerful tool to save you a lot of time and energy breaking into the government space. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. We're at the time here. So Mara, I'm going to leave it up to you to wrap it up.
Okay, can you stick the contact details from the PowerPoint back on the screen so everyone can have that one last time? On your last screen?
Sure.
Oh, I thought you had your information on the back, but that's okay. So just go back to the Gov Fast Track screen. That's fine. Alrighty, but
yes.
Yeah, I don't think you do, so that's okay. But that was Abraham Sion, founder of Government Contractors Association. I am Myra Cisse. And there it is. Abe always has a plan B. I'm Myra Cisse. I'm the Vice President of Member Services here at the association, and thank you so much for joining us for today's webinar. This webinar has been recorded, so the recording will be available even if you log in after the fact. So, and I'll be sending it out to all the attendees so that you have this information readily available. Thanks again for joining us, and you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.